Hey, what is up guys, welcome back to the channel and welcome back to Gran Turismo 7. So today's video I'll do a bit of a lazy money method. I've had this one waiting for a while. It's just a old build that I've essentially brought up to date, and I know this is a pretty popular car with a lot of people. The main reason is it's basically a great alternative to the Mazda 787B, which is obviously a Legends car, so it kind of, goes in and out, on rotation, whereas this one is pretty much there all the time, and you do get the kind of usual tyre and fuel consumption that you get from the 787B. So you can buy this from the Mazda brand central dealership. It's the Mazda LM55 VGT. It's not the Group 1 version. That one I've actually never bothered to go and test, so I'm unsure if that one works as well. It may do. Someone may be able to let you know in the comments down below. So overall, this is not one of the fastest cars, if in all honesty. I built it more to be, all about the fuel consumption and all about the tyre life, which is kind of where its advantages are. So that's just what we're going to be taking advantage of, all of its strengths. Comes in a little bit cheaper than the 787B as well at 1 million credits. It's always available for you to purchase, so it's a great little alternative. Again, lazy build, and I love being able to just sit back and, put a bit of music on and such. So the track we're going to be using is in Europe, and it's the Sardinia road track. And then when you go in there, it's the one on the far right, the World Touring Car 800. This is the event we're going to be using to grind with this car. Let's get into the actual build itself. It's on racing hard tyres. Obviously, we're just going for a zero-stop strategy, so that is the way we're going to build it. So racing hards, these should last pretty much the whole race without giving you a single bit of trouble. We're going to have the anti-roll bar set to 6 and 5. Compression is 30, expansion 40, 4.50 for the frequency, toe angle 0.10 outwards and 0.20 inwards at the rear. Initial torque is 31 at the front, 10 at the rear. Acceleration sensitivity is 20 at the front and 40 at the rear. Braking sensitivity is 10 at the front, 40 at the rear. And then up here we have the top speed set to 320. I feel like I may have put that a little bit too high. And as you can see, no gear changes there because we're using normal transmission. Ballast is at 199, which is quite a lot, sadly, with a positioning of -50. Power restrictor is 70, and the ECU is fully customizable, reduced to 79. In terms of the aero is 1000 at the front, which is the minimum, and the maximum at the rear, which is 1800. And then as you can see, nothing else actually needs changing. Very simple, easy build. You can get this done in a couple of minutes and it's ready to go. So like I did mention, the main strengths of this build is mainly its fuel and tyre use. In complete honesty, it's not the fastest over a single lap of pace. In fact, it's probably one of the weaker cars. However, because we don't have to pit, we're not really going to be losing it too much time. There probably is other ways to build this, but all I essentially did was just build upon the foundations of the original build and kind of just bring it up to date. And that's the main thing with this build. In all honesty, I like the way it was. I like that I could just sit back, put some Spotify on the background and basically chill while I'm grinding away. It just makes it, a little bit less monotonous. Obviously, these events have been around for a while, so that's essentially what I was just aiming to do. Make a bit of a lazy build where I don't have to worry too much and I can just, cruise around quite happily at my own pace and earn some easy credits for it. So in terms of the fuel usage and such, you may find that towards the latter stages you may have to do a bit of lifting and coasting. If you're going to go too hard on the early laps, you will find that you'll use a little bit more fuel. I wouldn't say this is as good on fuel as the 787B. For me, the 787B will always be kind of one of the king of Sardinias. It's just absolutely a fantastic all-around grinding car. But obviously, because of the rotation of the legendary dealership, this kind of gives this car an advantage in that sense. The fact that it's always available and it's around about 1.7 million cheaper. No, it's not my personal preference over the two, but it's definitely a great little alternative. Again, like I've mentioned, this for me falls into the kind of push and go category. They're easy cars to use, you don't really have to worry about them, and you can essentially just repeat it and go round and round and round without having to worry about pitting or worry really about any of your tyre life and such. So it's great if you just want to sit back and just, cruise around and earn a bit of money. So let's quickly go over to the strategy with this car. So fuel mix 6 and that's it. You don't really need to do anything else apart from that. You won't have to worry about your tyre life or anything like that. Like I said, if you go a little bit too hard on the early stages and you focus too much on kind of just overtaking everybody, in all honesty, you may have to do a bit of fuel saving, and that's kind of what I did here. I think I was just a bit too aggressive, and in all honesty, it just caused me to, have to save fuel for a couple of laps If you do notice that you're not necessarily on target for your fuel, when you get to around about lap 11 to probably about 13, just start lifting and coasting into corners and such, and quite quickly that should bring you back in line for your fuel target, and yeah, you should quite easily make it all the way to the end with no real trouble. So as you may be able to tell, the pace really isn't there, kind of over a 1 lap pace for this car. The original build that I did do as well was pretty much the same. It wasn't really built for pace, it's built for just being a bit of a lazy grinder, and in all honesty sometimes it's a nice little shake up. I know a lot of people do prefer grinding cars where they don't have to worry about pitting or, you know, kind of going around. Usually I'm the opposite, but this build I actually made at 3 AM in the morning when I couldn't sleep, so you know, I just decided that, you know, I'm going to make a lazy build. I don't want to concentrate too much. I want to put some music on, put my headphones in or whatever, and just zone out and earn some of that easy money. So in terms of actually catching the leader, I did this towards the end of lap 3. I had a little bit of an off early stages, so it really wasn't, you know, too good in terms of actually catching the leader. In terms of difficulty, it's completely up to you. You can run either easy, medium, or maybe even hard. I wouldn't necessarily do that. Like I said, the pace just isn't there for that car. Now, like I said, later on you may have to do a little bit of lifting and coasting, and that's why you're probably going to see my car is much slower entering the corners than it realistically should be. There is a lot of downforce in this car, and you can quite easily fly through these corners. You shouldn't really need to be lifting and coasting, but like I said, for the sake of fuel consumption, you may just have to do it for probably a lap or two at most. Like I said, this should just easily bring you back within your target. You can quite easily just monitor it on the left. As soon as I just put it in fuel mix 6, that's where I'll keep it. Obviously, you don't have to worry about weather or anything like that at Sardinia. As you can see, we're coming around on the final lap, and we did eventually run out of fuel. So we're just going to, you know, basically coast across the finish line. But it is job done nonetheless. Another car that can basically go around Sardinia on a 0 stop. And yet again, it's a rotary car that does it. So 2540.311 with a couple of offs. Really not too bad. We did manage to lap the whole grid at least once, with a couple of them being twice. Fastest lap of a 141.135. Again, not the fastest, but I didn't really build this car for speed. I honestly think if I didn't have the few offs early on, we would quite easily be able to get this towards a 25-minute barrier. There's no real reason why not. I'd actually be interested to go back to my old video and actually check my overall time there. Again, that car wasn't built for speed, and that's essentially been the foundations for this one. So it's 727,500 credits in around about 25 minutes. You'll also hit your daily mileage ticket. So if you're just doing one a day, it's pretty much job done from there. So that's going to be it for this video. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you for your support recently. I am obviously waiting for the big whole VR to come out. I will be covering that within Gran Turismo 7. I feel like there's a lot of interesting videos I could make on that. So if you do have any recommendations for either other builds or anything you want to see once PSVR 2 hits, just let me know in the comments down below. Thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to check the description for my Twitter, my Discord, and my donation link. I massively appreciate it, and it's some of the easiest ways to get in contact with myself if you want to. And a big shout out to my sponsors as always, Poggers and the Controller people, for jumping on board this channel recently and supporting me. It's been absolutely amazing to have these guys on board with me. I'll see you all in the next one. Take care, guys. Peace.